between 2019 and 2021, there were 300,000 accountants that left the industry. And so that's huge. So our industry is kind of getting it from both sides, right?
Now, where are you located?
So we're in Allen, Texas. It's just a little bit north of Dallas, just out here in the suburbs.
Okay. So close to the hub of Texas there.
Yeah, we're right next to Frisco and McKinney and all the places that have been like hitting the news for growth over the last several years. We're kind of right in the middle of all of that.
Okay, wonderful. Now, can you give us a little bit of background on yourself and your company?
Yeah, so our company, Accent Financial, was actually started about 35 years ago. It grew up on a farm, and the gentleman who started it and owned it up until I got it, he worked on it and loved what he was doing, and he did it until he passed away at 96 years old.
Oh my goodness.
And when his family, that all happened, and the family all got together and said, "Hey, we don't want to do this anymore. Let's put it up for sale." So I've been in accounting, finance for coming on 2.5 decades now, and I was looking for something else to do. Like I wanted to invest in businesses, and part of my financial strategy and tax strategy was I need to have some different businesses, some different real estate. Like, here's how I need to kind of set up my world. And I saw this thing come up, and I thought, man, that's something that I know about, that I can do. And also it's one of those things that I just, over the course of my career, it just always comes up that I end up helping people with their tax stuff and their financial situations. And I said, "You know what? That's pretty awesome. Like, let's put all that together." And so I bought it a little over 2 years ago now, and brought it off the farm. I brought it out into the suburbs. I have taken the company digital, so we have websites and portals and all of that kind of stuff now, and it's been a fun adventure for the last couple of years.
Yeah, it sounds like it. So definitely growing it's in a different direction, but that's pretty cool that's been around for that long.
Yeah, yeah, we have great history. We have clients that we have 3 generations of their family. Yeah, it was nice to be able to kinda capture all of that along with, just purchasing the company.
Right. And now what are some of the services you offer?
So, we have a tax side of things, we have an accounting side of things, and we have a small business side of things. And so on the tax side, we can do everything from tax preparation and IRS support to specific tax planning. Like, we can model out everything that you have and basically tell you what your taxes are going to look like. And our big thing that we're really focused on now is tax strategy, which is sitting down with a client and saying, "Hey, listen, let's talk about all of the different pieces of your life." We're and we can, we'll talk about this maybe a little bit later, but we have a whole process for how we do that for people, and figure out how to help people save money on taxes. And then we also have our accounting side, and we'll do everything from basic bookkeeping, full charge bookkeeping. I offer CFO services. So for anybody who you have your accounting in place, but you need to understand how to take your company to the next level and really do some analysis and stuff like that. I do that for people. And we also do something called a strategic accounting partnership. And that's basically like, hey, you're trying to hire somebody into your organization. It's like, hey, I know we need somebody to do accounting. I don't know what it is. I'm going to hire somebody. We kind of step into that and say, well, hire us instead. We've got a team of people that we all know what we're doing already. We're available for you all the time. It's a different kind of a situation, and usually we end up saving people about 40% versus actually hiring somebody onto their staff. So that's something that we do, and then we also do a lot of small business support. So I help people with their entities, whether it's fixing entities, starting entities, closing entities, understanding what that looks like, doing the actual paperwork and everything, and helping people with that stuff, along with just general business support. I think I probably had 100 meetings this year of people just coming in saying, "Hey, I just started a business. What do I do now?" And so being able to help people with that's a lot of fun too.
Right, because that has a lot of challenges and different things that they have to, learn about. And I don't know if you tackle this, but I was reading about they have the new reporting for small businesses. Is that something that you've been talking to clients
The
about?
BOI?
Mhm.
Yeah. It's interesting. I was as I was driving into the office this morning, I was thinking about doing another video. I did one earlier in the year talking about what it is and why everybody needs to do it, and, and we can help people do that. It's not a big deal, really. When I first when it first came out, everybody was like, "Hey, we'll take care of this for you," and I saw people online, it was charging like $3,000 to do BOI reports for somebody, and I'm like, "Oh, man, I have hundreds of business clients that are gonna need to do this. I better figure out what it's all about."
Right.
And so I went and did mine, and it took me about 10 minutes. It was unbelievably easy to actually sit down and do it, and so I made a video about it. I was like, "Listen, eh, it's something that you have to do, but here's how easy it is to do it. Here's the links to do it. Here's the information that you need to do it." But then just recently, was it a week, less than 2 weeks ago, there was a federal, case in Texas that put a stay on the whole thing. So, there were already a couple of legal cases that said that it was unconstitutional in a couple of different ways. But that only applied specifically to those plaintiffs in those cases, so it hadn't made it to everybody yet. This case that was just in Texas, it put a hold on the whole thing, so at this point, nobody has to do it, there's no penalties being filed,
Okay.
at least until they appeal it. Well, actually, I think they did appeal it, but until all of that is worked out, it's basically it's done, nobody needs to do it for right now.
All right. So it's a kind of on a standstill. So at least people can rest for now. But it's good to know that it's not this big, scary thing because it was really, I mean, there's a lot of like huge fines associated with it.
Huge fines.
Yeah.
Yeah, $500 a day.
I know. I saw that. I was like, a small business would be pretty much deleted at that, at that point if that wasn't,
Yeah.
done.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was crazy. Yeah, we've been telling people about it all year long, and it's nice to finally say, "Okay, you don't have to worry about it for now."
Right. Well, that's good. And now I know besides that, what are some of the other changes you're seeing within the accounting industry overall?
It's fascinating because the number of people going into accounting, well, first of all, the number of people going into accounting is very, very down. I saw a thing the other day, it was from the, AICPA, and it was something like 33%. They have 33% less people applying for CPAs.
That's interesting.
And yeah, and that's pretty interesting, and there's a bunch of groups that I follow, and watching kind of the sentiment of people who have already gotten into the industry and are saying, "Man, I don't know, this is pretty crazy. Do I wanna keep doing this? Like, is this what I want my career to be?" Um, there's definitely a sentiment among younger people now that are looking at this industry and saying, "Yeah, I don't really wanna get into that." And and the other side of that is there's a huge number of people that are retiring from the industry. So, between 2019 and 2021, there were 300,000 accountants that left the industry. And so that's huge. So our industry is kinda getting it from both sides, right? And yeah, so I know there's gonna be some AI stuff that's gonna try to pick up the slack for that. We're certainly we're trying to figure out how to use AI in our company. Um, but yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see what happens over the next several years here because it seems to me like there's going to be less and less of us to kind of help pick up the slack.
And now there's still a need for it though, so that might be an interesting, situation because there's still a need. There's still gonna be a need even with AI and stuff like that. It can't take the place
Yeah.
of being more strategic with those type of things.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, accounting is, you know, been around for thousands of years and it isn't going anywhere. And despite whatever happens in the political realm, I don't think there's a real chance that income taxes are just going to go away, right?
Right. And the
So,
businesses, yeah, they still have to file the reports and do their accounting, so that's always
yeah,
gonna.
we'll see. We'll see what happens. We're here, we're not going anywhere. And my intention is we're trying to grow the company. We're trying to stay up to date with all the latest technology and all the laws, and make things as easy as we possibly can for people.
And now we're approaching the end of the year, and I know a lot of people are kind of getting their taxes, their information together, kind of seeing we've already seen that there's going to be probably some changes. How do you think filing procedures and tax bracket changes are going to like make an impact this year?
Yeah. So the tax brackets they're set for 2025, and then the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, which was that really adjusted the tax brackets for everybody. It shifted everything way down. It helped a lot of people save money on taxes. That's set to expire at the end of 2025, which means the tax brackets for 26 are scheduled to go significantly back up to where they were before. Um, but that may or may not happen. Uh, Trump has said he has a lot of plans on the tax side. Uh, Part of it is going to be to take pieces of the Tax Cuts and Job Tax and try to make them permanent. He wants to reduce corporate taxes, which is already down, but again, that's one of those things. It's scheduled to go back up, so he wants to make sure that that stays down. Um, yeah, and a lot of deductions and everything. Like the tax code is fascinating. It's so complex, and they just add random things to it every once in a while. Like, hey, did you know you could do this? Like it's one of the challenges for us is just staying on top of all of the changes for people. And then figuring out how to integrate that into tax strategies for everybody. Yeah, so I think we're gonna see a lot of changes over the next 18 months, say. Um, there's a lot of people that would like to see taxes go away. Again, I don't think the whole tariff and get rid of income tax debate, I don't think that's a real thing. There's too much incentive for the government to have taxes in place and be able to have some kind of mechanism of social engineering, right? Like government can only do so many things, and it's part of what the tax code has been designed to do. So if we want as a society people to go invest in putting solar panels on their houses, well, we give people a credit and say, here you go put solar panels on your houses. We'll give you some money back, right? Like there's things that go along with the tax code that's encouraging people to do the things that we'd like them to do. And I like personally, I don't see how that part of it goes away.
That some of that will stay. And are you already seeing people like coming to you, like getting ready to prepare for this year and wanting to do their taxes or not yet?
Yeah, it's been a really busy December of people who are like, okay, here's all the money that I made this year. What can I do like right now to try to get rid of taxes? So it's been, yes, December has been very busy. I did a webinar at the beginning of the month, with like, I don't know, I think it was like 23 different tax tips that people could use that could still be done in December. Of course, it's been a couple weeks since then, so there's not as much time for people to still get stuff done. But yeah, I have, man, I'm packed with meetings of people who are just freaking out, like, what can I do for the end of this year to not have to pay taxes?
Right.
So it was nice to see that people are, having success out there and making a lot of money. Um, but then, you also wish that you could help people kinda all throughout the year instead of just at the freak out periods, right?
Right, like, help them have like, a plan in place, and I know that kinda brings us to the next thing is I know you have a tax strategy that you designed, it's called tax smithing, correct?
Tax smithing, yeah. So we're kinda developing this whole program with the theme of, it's we're helping you figure out your taxes, we're helping you craft your financial strategies and life and everything. And so we thought it was kinda cool, just, it's like blacksmithing, we're trying to build stuff for you, we're hammering through it, we're forging your future, all that kinda theme that goes along with it. But the real idea is to be able to look at all of the different pieces of somebody's life and put it together in a way that just kind of naturally will help them save money on taxes, just from a strategic place of, okay, well, let's do this thing here and let's do this thing here. We're going to call this business entity this so that it works in a different way. And so our idea is that we sit down with somebody, we we collect all of the information. We do like a little pre-meeting where we just get all of the information that we could need. And then I sit down with them and I build them what we're calling the blueprint. And it's a diagram of your assets and all the different stuff that you've got going on in your life. And then we talk about how do we make how do we make your income come out in a certain way, and can we reduce it in this way to maybe save on self-employment taxes or to save on this kind of thing. Um, can we, as we're building your different entities or we're looking at what you're invested in, can we help you put some entities in place that are going to maybe help keep your things organized, but give you some options as far as tax strategies that you can do? So we look at everything. We make a nice picture of it. We give a bunch of suggestions. And one of the things that has always been a frustration for me is I would sit down with clients. We would talk about, here's some ideas of stuff that you can go do. And I'll say, here you go. And then a year later, I meet with them again and they hadn't done any of it. Right. And, which is like, it's kind of the nature. You're like, okay, I've got all these things to do. I feel like I have started on that journey. I feel better about it. And then you get back to life and you forget everything that you were supposed to do. So what we've kind of put together is we have this client portal that is meant to turn this process into an ongoing relationship, sort of a thing. So we're doing this not just as like a one-off meeting, but as a let's meet 4 times a year, 10 times a year, whatever it is. And through the portal, we keep track of your goals. We keep track of your homework, side missions that you have to do. It's like, hey, you need to go make sure you get a revocable living trust done, right? So that'll be on there. And then depending on how engaged people are, we'll set it so that every week it reminds you. It's like, hey, did you go get your trust done? Here's somebody that you can talk to go do it. Like, we have a guy here, we have a guy here, and trying to connect people to the resources to do those things. Also reminding them to do it. And then through this portal, every time we do have a discussion, we can say, okay, well, now we're talking about doing your accounting stuff. Remember that your goals for your life were da 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 da. We need to make sure as we're talking about this other project that we're keeping these goals in mind. And that's what we're trying to do for you. So yes, we've developed it into like a really nice process for clients, and it is going great so far. People love it.
And that sounds cool. It's kinda like a check-in to kinda keep you on track and make sure you don't let those things, like, slide and, so you're
Yeah,
not at the end of the year going, "Oh my gosh, what am I gonna do now?"
yeah, exactly, exactly.
And that's great, and I know, like, just, like, financial planners, kinda help with your finances. I mean, that's a really important thing because taxes, which I mean, found too, you can get if it gets out of hand or something, you don't do something correctly, you end up having to pay, there's penalties, it's not
Yeah,
fun.
yeah.
So
I mean, and that's the with a lot of this stuff, there are particular deadlines, right? Like it's just time happens, and for this year, like if there's things that you don't get done in the next, less than 2 weeks, you can't do it. You're not gonna be able to pull something off. So if one of your goals was, "Hey, I wanna start a 401(k) plan for my company," okay, well, there's not much time left to do it, and if you don't do it in 24, then even some of the mechanisms that you can use to go back and contribute to it, you're not allowed to because it didn't exist yet. And that's the same with, certain business entities. They're like, "Well, I wanted it to be started in June." Well, June has come and gone. The closest thing that you can get to that is do it now,
get it
right?
done.
Yeah.
And now do you work with people, a client just, locally or is it nationally?
Oh, nationally.
Okay.
So we love working with people locally. We have a physical office, and we love having people come in and sit down and talk about stuff. But we have clients all over the country.
And they can also do things, I mean, like, if they wanna contact you online, like, what would be the best way to get in contact with your company?
Yeah, so our website is accentfinance.net. Um, that brings you to all of our different stuff, and you can use it for booking appointments. You can use it for signing up for things. We have all of our forms and everything online that you can do from there. We have all of our contact information that you can find from there. It's a pretty built out website. It's getting a makeover right now, so probably sometime in January there's going to be a new snazzy version of it that goes up. Um, do people still say snazzy? It's a weird word.
Yeah, I think that's yes. So
Yeah, but that's there's changes coming on that soon also, and it's gonna be a little bit more in depth on the e-commerce side, so people will actually be able to sign up for membership programs and everything directly through the website. And that's something that we're trying to do for next year also. Uh, we're building some of these things as a membership program. So rather than say I'm going to come in and pay my taxes, and I have, 4 companies that I need to get my taxes done, plus my personal stuff and this and that, and all of a sudden you've got like a $5,000 tax bill in April. We're trying to spread that out for people. So for this year, we're starting a membership program, and it allows people to spread those payments out over the course of the year, but it also gets them access to some of our member benefits. And so I have a portal that's going to be there for members, which has a bunch of tools in it. So for instance, that there's a tax strategy for 1031 exchanges. And so I've got a form that explains everything about the 1031 exchange. Here's how you use it. And then you get to the end of it and said, okay, fill this stuff out. If you go do one of these things, put all this stuff together. And when it comes time to do your taxes, that's all the information that we're going to need to actually do your taxes. There's the pertinent information, right? So I'm building some tools like that for people that the members are going to have access to. I'm working on an ebook right now. It's all about how to start, maintain, and operate businesses in Texas. So that's pretty fun. I was talking with one of my girls yesterday who was kind of helping me put everything together, and I'm really hopeful that that's going to be a neat and useful thing for people to understand business a little bit more. Um, Yeah, so that's kind of the plan. The best place to go is our website, accentfinance.net.
Okay, sounds great. Yeah, definitely the book, and I know you have online, some videos as well going into some of these subjects, so
Yeah. Yeah, we've got a YouTube channel. We're trying to do some interesting things with that. Um, man, I will say, sitting down and making YouTube videos is it's not a thing that's in my wheelhouse. Uh, it's a lot of work. I'm, like, surprised at how much work it is and how many times, like, I tried to do this one video and it was maybe a 10-minute video, and I just spend the entire day, like, recorded it over and over and over again, like, "Oh, I don't like how that looks. Oh, I don't wanna do it like that. Oh, why did I say that?" It's crazy, like, this whole industry is, it's foreign to me. It's a lot of work.
it is definitely no, and especially when you're like you're saying you're doing your editing and stuff like that, I think you're, like, more critical of yourself, so you're like, "No, I'm gonna do it over again. I'm just gonna wipe it off and do this thing." So you'll be at it all day. I know. It's true. That's the beauty of, like, when you have, like, an editorial to like, somebody who can, like, go through it, they're really quick at just kind of putting everything together.
Yeah,
That's a wonder to me, like, that industry is so interesting to me where they're just able to piece things even in the filmmaking industry, just to put everything together like it flowed, effortlessly.
yeah, yeah. It's interesting, but we're trying. We have a kind of a submission for this year of, really increasing our educational content for people, and, yeah, so we're gonna do that. Actually, it's probably a good time to plug we're putting together a summer program for kids for next year,
Oh, nice.
and, like, everybody does all the little educational summer camps, right? We're gonna try to do one of those that's gonna focus on teaching kids financial acumen through board games.
That's cool because, that's one thing that is lacking in the schools, and a lot of people talk about it, is, like, you
Yeah,
become an adult, but you don't have any idea of how to manage your finances.
yeah,
So,
yeah, for sure.
very
Yeah,
nice.
so that yeah, education is gonna be a big thing for us, so, yeah, definitely subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Okay, great. We'll definitely, like, link to that as well, and I really appreciate you joining us today, and hope to have you back after the tax season to see how all this went it
I
went
know. Yeah. Well, yes, thank you, Melissa. It's been a pleasure being here with you.